Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books in horror. And even though September was a slight disaster when it comes to reading, I'm still here to let you know everything that I read in the month of September.
It's coffee time!
So September is a month in which, let's be honest, I did not prioritize reading so much as to rewatch Red Wine Royal Blue twice a day.
Nobody asked.
Which is fine, we're good. I still managed to read 6 things, so I'm here to talk to you about them. When it comes to October, I'm trying to be more disciplined with myself, so I only watch Red Wine Royal Blue once a day, and I try to prioritize a little bit of reading every single day because there's so many things that I want to read in October, and not just because it's spooky month, it's also because I have a lot of books that I would love to read before I go to London, and so I'm trying to be more disciplined with my reading, and fingers crossed, pray for me that I manage. But anyway, I'm here to let you know everything that I read. If you're new here, we like to rate our books with coffee mugs, and I always start with the lowest rating to the highest, so we always end up on a positive note. Let's start with The Last Girls Standing by Jennifer Dugan, and this is a YA horror thriller. And I think part of why this didn't click for me was the writing style and the way that a lot of things I felt were being quite repetitive. It might also have been because I had certain expectations with the book of being more of a slasher than a book that kind of delves deeper into trauma. The story follows the survivors of a massacre that took place in a summer camp and how they are kind of coping with what happened to them. So the survivors are a couple of counselors that were working at the summer camp when the massacre happened, and we follow some of those characters as they go to therapy and are trying to move on and go back to a normal life, even though they are always in the news and everybody's still talking about it. And even though from the very beginning I realized that there was going to be less horror than what I had anticipated, I was still interested to find out more about the girls, what happened to them, what happened in the camp, how they're dealing with their trauma, because I do like books that combine horror with grief or with trauma, and you really get like a good character depth. And I just felt like that wasn't the case here, and that is why neither the horror nor the trauma really worked for me. I also felt at times that the way it was portrayed, the PTSD and the trauma, might have not been the best, but that's just my personal opinion. I think this was a great opportunity to show, that PTSD, that trauma that the victims have after a massacre, and not just, talk about the massacre and that's it. Like, it was something that potentially could have still been a 5-star for me. I just feel like the writing, the way that the book was paced, and the way that it was getting a little bit repetitive for me kind of like blocked me from really enjoying the book, and I found myself kind of almost DNFing it because I lost interest in the book, to be honest. This doesn't mean that this book is not going to be perfect for other people. This is just my experience and my own personal opinion. As always, there are so many books out there, so many writers, and we all have such different opinions. So if you were, considering picking this up, still pick it up. Don't just think that because I didn't enjoy it, you're not gonna enjoy it. I always feel so hesitant saying that I didn't like a book or something because I don't want other people to stop themselves from getting the book, because you might love it. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that you might not. But at the same time, I have to give you my honest opinion. So my honest opinion is that I almost DNF'd it, and it was a disappointment for me. Next we have Welcome to Camp Killer by Cynthia Murphy, and this is a YA horror thriller, and it's going to be one of those perfect short reads for you to take with you on summer holidays. If you're looking for, something quick to read during holidays, this is gonna be perfect. And also if you love slashers, because this is a full-on, like a true slasher. We are in Camp Miller, and the owner is Chad, someone that had experience on summer camps in the United States and decided to bring that concept to the UK. And he is running a very successful summer camp until people start dying, which is not good for business. This beautiful camp has 8 counselors and 32 kids and 1 killer on the loose. I love that the book kind of begins with the counselors getting ready to receive the kids, and they decide to tell each other spooky stories by the fireplace and stuff, and it already gets you into the mood and that atmosphere of a summer night in a camp before all hell breaks loose. And there is also a story related to that camp, to the history of a house that's next to it, and that is all kind of related to what's going to happen to our characters. I had a lot of fun with the book. It was just a little bit too short, and I felt like, of course, when you have such a short book, it is the danger that it's going to feel rushed towards the end, and it was the case for me, but I think this is a very solid, good slasher and something that I would see myself also rereading. The next book is Bite Risk by S.J. Wills, and this one is a YA horror paranormal story about werewolves, and one of my favorite things about this book is the very different take that we get on werewolves and how different this book was from what I had initially anticipated. This book was full of surprises, and it also has the element of found family. We live in a very small town in which the teenagers are taking care of the adults every, full moon, because they know that the adults turn into werewolves. So this is a world in which when you are old enough, you turn into a werewolf. This happens to everybody. Everybody knows about it. So everybody in town is ready. The adults have their own cages at home. They're being watched. They lock themselves in there for the night so that they cannot hurt anybody. So they have like a system. And if you're born there, if you're a kid, you already know that at some point you're going to turn into a werewolf as well. So I love this concept, and I thought it was really interesting from the beginning. But the book also offered other twists that I didn't expect. In the story, we follow a group of teenagers that are kind of dealing with the situation that they are in. Their parents, their family members being locked during the night, and also how sometimes accidents can happen if one of the adults that turns into a werewolf is loose on a full moon. I did like that the characters were kind of helping each other out, but I did miss a little bit more of character depth. However, I would tell you that I thought this was more of a mystery thriller with kind of like a big mystery that our main characters had to solve more than a horror, but there are some depictions of people getting killed. I think I was expecting maybe a little bit more of horror, a little bit more of body horror in the book. So I would say this is perfect for people that are looking for a werewolf story that is very different and that has an element of a mystery that needs to be solved. The next one is Field of Screams by Wendy Paris, and this is a middle grade spooky read. And this is another one that went in another direction than what I had anticipated, let's put it that way. But I really enjoyed the writing, and I really enjoyed how much you could tell that the writer loved the characters, and this one did offer a lot of character depth. It is a fast-paced ghost story with a lot of heart, family, and friendship. It also offers some mystery that needs to be solved, and our main character is a girl that has been always really obsessed with the supernatural and with ghosts, and she has always dreamt of meeting a ghost in real life. That is, until she actually does meet one. So Rebecca has been forced to spend the summer with her family that she doesn't know, in a farm in the middle of nowhere and far away from her friends and the life that she knows. So she's not in a really great mood when she gets there. And then one night she encounters a ghost. So that's when she's like, I love this. I'm gonna solve this mystery. I'm gonna figure out who this ghost is. Why did they die? Why are they here? And she's ready to investigate. She also gets to meet other kids that live there and ends up kind of having a friendship with them. And I feel like I love that it wasn't an easy friendship from the get-go. It's not like they met and they were besties. It took them a while to kind of open up to each other. And I thought this was such a good, like, heartwarming story about finding friendships in the most unexpected places. And also it is a cute, like, ghost mystery solving story that also involves family secrets. So I thought this was a very solid middle grade. Our next book is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake, which is another YA book. I felt like I read a lot of YA this month, and this was part of the YA book club that Amy Mako hosts every month, and we had a live discussion that was so much fun, like chaotic, crazy, loved it. So if you missed it, it is on Amy's channel now if you want to go and watch it. But be aware that we talk about the book in depth, so there's going to be spoilers there. The story follows a ghost hunter called Kaz that has basically taken over the family business as a ghost hunter. His mom is a white witch, and they also have a cat that can smell spirits and ghosts. So the whole family is kind of like part of the business. And Kaz travels from place to place trying to find ghosts that need his help in order to cross to the other side, to be released from their burden. He doesn't really know where ghosts go, but he knows that his mission is to make sure that they are relieved from being stuck in Earth. So the business is going as usual until Kaz meets a ghost that he didn't expect, which is Anna. And Anna seems to be different from other ghosts. She is a vengeful spirit, but there is more to her than just that. And the more that Kaz learns about her background and her story, the more he starts to be conflicted because he is feeling empathy for this ghost. This was perfect also for the found family trope. Kaz gets to make great friends. I thought there was a wide variety of characters that were very likable in the book. I loved how different it was for being a ghost story. It was definitely a lot more intense than I expected for a YA book. I'll tell you that as well. There's a lot of body gore and descriptions in the book. If you're looking for a paranormal book about ghosts and you want to see something done a little bit different and you don't mind a little bit of the element of romance in the book, it's there, but I don't think it overtakes everything else. And like I said, I thought the concept that Kendari has for ghosts and all of the things involving them, how they are, their backgrounds, how they go, all of that, I thought it was just so interesting and unique that I would encourage you to check it out if you love ghost stories. And last, I would like to report that I have read this book twice this month, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And you know, no regrets. I actually bought this copy specially to annotate it. I have highlighted stuff, I have noted down stuff, and that is something that I never do. I hate writing in books, highlighting stuff. I just don't like to do that to my books. But I felt like with this book, I needed to dive deep into everything and allow myself the joy of highlighting and annotating. And I think every time I read it, I'm gonna add things because I didn't annotate absolutely everything. There is a lot here to unpack, let me tell you that. So what I did is I added like a color coordination here, and then I just went for it. And let me tell you, I have enjoyed and loved every second of it. So I think I might do this to other books that I really love, like get a second copy to annotate because I don't want to like ruin the copies that I already own. But if there's a book that I really want to dive into, I think I'm gonna get another copy. I think I might do it with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is one of my favorite thrillers. I love that book and it's short, so I think I'm gonna get a second copy and do that to the book. Let me tell you, I have laughed out loud with this book. There is a lot of smut in the book, but there's also so much heart. I've cried with this book more times than I would like to admit. It emotionally uplifts me and destroys me at the same time, and I feel that kind of works for me. Like, give me something that I love, but at the same time completely destroys me, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I think by now everybody knows what the story is about, but it's basically about the romance between the first son of the United States, who is bisexual, and the Prince of England, who is gay, and how they were enemies, then they turned friends, and they ended up being lovers, trying, you know, to keep it under the radar because obviously they're public figures, because obviously we still sadly live in a world in which if the Prince of England would come forward and say, I'm gay, everybody would lose their shit. Well, not everybody, because, you know, it's probably just the old, wrinkled white men, traditionalists that would see it that way. Like, who cares who you're shagging, to be honest? Like, just be you, enjoy your life, love who you want to love. And so this is kind of like a utopian world, but I love it and I hope we get here someday. But yeah, I'm completely obsessed with it, and yeah, it's probably one of my favorite books of all times now. I remember when I read it when it came out, I absolutely loved it, and I had never reread it, but after the movie came out I had the urge to reread it, and yeah, I could just not love it more. So I apologize again for all my red, white, and royal blue content, especially on TikTok. Alright guys, so this is everything that I managed to read in the month of September. I know it was not that much, but I hope that you enjoyed the reviews. Some of them are new releases, so I hope that I helped you deciding if you wanted to pick them up or not. In the month of October, I'm gonna focus on a lot of new releases because the books that I'm trying to read for y'all are new releases, so there will be more reviews about new books coming up soon. Let me know how you did in September and what is the best book you read in September. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for all your support, and I hope to see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye!